Finally, the bye week is over, and we finally have Chicago Bears football this Sunday. What is up, guys? Welcome back to So Back Sports, and I'm so back with another video. And this Sunday at 3:25 p.m., the Chicago Bears are going to be playing against the Washington Commanders. And in this video, I'm going to be doing a quick preview and analysis on what I think is going to happen, and give my predictions and takeaways at the end of this video. But before we get into that, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Really means a lot to the channel. It really helps me create content like this for you guys. So please do subscribe because it really means a lot to the channel. And let's start off real quick, actually, and talk about. Actually, you know what? Let me make it a little bigger for me. Let's talk about this matchup because this is one of the most anticipated matchups since, like, I guess you could say the beginning of the season, because it only got more anticipatory when, Jaden Daniels started to pop off, because we didn't really think the Commanders were going to be this good this quickly, and they're turning out to be one of the teams that could potentially win the NFC East. And this is going to be a big test if Jaden Daniels does end up playing. So let's get into that real quick. Jaden Daniels at the moment is, dealing with a rib injury. He's been said by Dan Quinn that he's going to be week to week. And that essentially means that, he's a game time decision, or he's doubtful for his, like, for the game day. And as of right now, it seems like he's projected to not play on Sunday, which, to be really honest, gives the Bears a slight advantage going into this game, because you don't have, if you're a Commanders, you don't have your biggest weapon, and that is Jaden Daniels throwing the rock, utilizing his feet to get big chunk plays, and his arm too, because his arm talent has been pretty solid this season. Um, as of right now, the Chicago Bears are 4-2, and the Washington Commanders are 5-2. And this is going to be taking place in Washington. And currently, the Chicago Bears are 1.5 minus 1.5 favorites to win this game. And if you look at the matchup predictor, it seems like they have a 50% chance. So it's pretty neck and neck when it comes to these two teams. And you have, your passing leaders and passing stats and rushing stats. So what are some things to really consider in this game? Because let's talk about, this, you know, uh, statistics. Let's really talk about that and get a little deep dive into it. Comparatively, the Bears right now are currently 24.7 in terms of points per game. That ranks 12th in the NFL, which that's going to be your key contributor when it comes to, your offense. How many points can Caleb Williams and this offense really put against the defense? Because as you can tell, you can probably guess what I'm trying to say is that the Washington Commanders opponent's points per game is ranked 15th. And listen, their defense isn't necessarily the greatest, when it comes to holistic view. And they haven't faced enough talent to the point where that defense is like, oh my gosh, this is going to be top 5 or top 10 or whatever. Right now, as you can see, their defensive rankings are relatively either in the bottom tier or in the middle of the pack. And, their offense is pretty, really good. They're top 10 in almost all categories except for maybe the red zone as well, which they are ranked 14th. As to go back to the Chicago stats, we are kind of in the middle of the pack with some cute few statistics that are, in the bottom half of the standings. And the one thing I will say is that touchdowns per game, 3 touchdowns per game, pretty solid. And I know it's against 1 win, 2 win teams. I get it. All right. But a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams, finding his stride after the first 2 weeks, and you can even say his third week against the Colts, you love to see that. You love to see that at the end of the day. Third down conversion is slightly improved from when it started, and fourth down conversion surprisingly pretty good, top 10 in the league. And yards per game, 24. It still needs some improvement in that area. So in terms of our defense, however, our defense has been pretty solid to say the least. Our run defense has been pretty good. Not anything crazy, but it's like been in roughly around top 10 with a few exceptions at top 20. Um, and if you look at our defense right here in terms of the pass, pretty much almost top 10 for the Chicago Bears. So, what am I really getting at here? Because it seems like I'm going with all these statistics. Essentially, the Bears on one end have a really good defense and a up and coming offense as well. The Commanders have a really good offense that's been put together well by Cliff Kingsbury, but their defense isn't their strong suit right now, which is bodes well for the Chicago Bears because the Chicago Bears have a decent offense that can really utilize a bad defense like the Washington Commanders. And I'm not saying that they're completely trash or anything like that. They're middle of the pack. They're still pretty solid. I'm not going to say that they're completely garbage or anything like that. They will pose some problems if you don't take them lightly. But if the Chicago Bears do to take them seriously, we can do some damage to that secondary. We can do some damage to the front four as well. And listen, at the end of the day, the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams have a lot to really, look forward to in the rest half of the season. That's why this game is so crucial to win because you have the division game stacked up 11 week 11 onward or week 10 onward. I might be getting it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's week 11 where you start with the Green Bay Packers and then you play some back-to-back games with the Lions, the Vikings, a game with the Seahawks and I think the 49ers as well. So you have some games, but after the Washington Commanders game, you have the Cardinals, you have the Patriots, and that's pretty much it because then you goes into your gauntlet. So these games, like the Washington Commanders game, is really important for the Chicago Bears to win when it comes to playoff implications because we win this game, we go up 5-2 in the season. We win the next two games. We go 7-2 going into our gauntlet against the division. So this is a pretty crucial game. And it really also depends on how, important it is because if Jaden Daniels plays, you have to win as well because you want to, show to the world that we can play against a really good team with their quarterback at full health. If we play against without their, Jaden Daniels, then we have to really, really take advantage of that because, we're trying to get this win. We're trying to do everything possible to, get us into that playoff berth. And we're currently right now, as it stands right now, with our record, we are technically that last seventh seed in the NFC to make the wild card in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, we're still there. We're just right there, right? We're not in the hunt. We're not. We are a playoff team. We just have to make sure that we win these easy games, or like manageable games because we've beaten pretty bad teams. Let's be really honest. We've beaten bad teams. We're in a 3-game winning streak. We had our bye week, and now we're going to be facing the Washington Commanders. And they're not anyone to like scoff at or overlook because they're going to be pretty solid, as you could tell from the stats that I showed. So but before we get into the rest of my takeaways and my predictions, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle Soback Sports. Follow me on TikTok. It's also on Soback Sports as well. So look into that and help me out because we're on the road to 600 subscribers. So please help me out in that sense. And let's get on with some takeaways. So some keys to the victory for Chicago Bears is pretty much keep your foot on the gas. Making sure that we make Washington as uncomfortable as possible. And Caleb Williams goes through his progressions, continues to show progress each and every game. As Danny Parkins would say on the show on Fox, up is good, down is bad. We're seeing up trajectory right now. So let's keep it that way. And listen, I'm not expecting Caleb Williams to be perfect every single game because he's going to have those, interceptions or a bad play because he's a rookie. You got to expect that. But I expect him to have a pretty solid game against a defense that isn't necessarily like a top 10 unit. And he's going to have his work cut out for him, later on. But, building that confidence is what's going to be key going into that gauntlet in like late November. So The next key is the defense has to get to the quarterback. And Flus has been pretty good when it comes to having the defense humming. He's been, consistent when it comes to being a great defensive play caller. Coach has been kind of like here and there, but he's been pretty solid. The fact that he's 4-2 right now is pretty good. So the defense has been a pretty solid unit, or the most consistent thing throughout the Bears, this season. And I think it's going to continue to be that way, and it has to be that way against a high flying offensive power unit like the Washington Commanders. If Jaden Daniels does play, but if Marcus Mariota plays, then there's some leeway. But you have to make sure whoever's at quarterback, whoever's at the front helm, it doesn't matter who. You're going to have to try to get to the quarterback to make him as uncomfortable as possible. When our D line has to make him as uncomfortable as possible, utilizing Montez Sweat, utilizing Dexter. You have to make sure that you get to the quarterback, and just so that they could potentially let throw some picks and make our secondary eat essentially. So that's the defensive side, because I think that it's not really like a worrisome aspect of it when it comes to defense. I usually don't worry, but at the end of the day, there are some off days. Any game can be a trap game. To be really honest with you, so we can't let them get the best of us when it comes to defense, and you got to stop the run as well. So we've been consistent with that. Finally, Caleb and the weapons are going to be tested, and they need to utilize clever schemes. Cliff Kingsbury throughout the season on the other side has been showing that they he his play calling is consistent when it comes to the first half of the season. He utilizes a lot of the run, utilizes Jaden to his strengths, and I think Shane Waldron is starting to get to that when it comes to Caleb Williams. Caleb has been showing a lot of his arm talent, his ability to maneuver in the pocket. Pocket presence has been very, very good. He's been taking less and less sacks each game, and the offensive line has been doing pretty well as well, albeit against pretty bad defenses, but still improvement at the end of the day. So now you have to utilize scheme. You have to get more comfortable with, drawing up some interesting designs or schemes to confront zone coverages, and make sure that the wide receivers get open. The one thing I will take from the Matt LaFleur calling plays for the Green Bay Packers is the fact that he's able to get his wide receivers open for Jordan Love to hit. Similarly, I need Shane Waldron to have that same philosophy, to be able to, focus on the wide receivers trying to get open and make the game a little easier for Caleb when it comes to the quick pass game and even the mid to high read plays. And then this will be really beneficial because it will be very important. Let me zoom out of this and kind of like emphasize this. This is very important for the Chicago Bears for a lot of reasons. The more we get comfortable with the scheme and more we get comfortable with um, the play calling, and Caleb gets comfortable with his offensive line and his wide receivers, the more easier it will be going into that mid-November slate against the Lions defense, against the Vikings defense that blitzes all the time, against the Packers defense who has the really solid secondary, and even you can even make the argument a D line as well. So that being said, making sure that you have solid scheming is going to be what decides this game. And yes, it is against the Commanders defense, but don't take it lightly at the end of the day. Honestly, if it were uh, when it comes to predictions, I guess, um, I feel like this is going to be a pretty like a two-score game, and I think the Chicago Bears will take this game. Um, hmm, I think it really depends on how if Jaden Daniels is there. Let's just assume that Jaden Daniels is not there because the reports have been saying it. I think even then it's still going to be a two-score game, so it will probably be around 31 to I want to say 21 as the final score. What do you guys think down in the comments below? Let me know because I want to know what you guys think the final score is going to be. Let me know as well what you thought about the video, about who you think is going to win this game. And always remember to like and subscribe. Really support the channel. Helps the algorithm out when it comes to, showing other people my channel. And as always, man, bear down, and I'll see you guys in the next one.